Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be looking at the Three Stooges. Most importantly, we're going to be focusing on the 50-second Stooge short released by Columbia Pictures on December 27th, 1940. It was filmed almost half a year before on August 15th through the 20th, 1940. Now, the title itself is a parody of the 1936 MGM film Babes in Arms, based on a Hart and Rogers musical. Now, the working title was All This and Bullets Too, which was a parody in itself of the title of the Warner Brothers film All This and Heaven Too. Now, I have to say this video is dedicated to the actor in this film, Richard Fisk. Now, Richard Fisk played one of the pretty important and significant roles in this short as Sergeant Dare. Now, in real life, this man, Richard Fisk, was drafted into the U.S. Army during World War II, of course, after this short was shot. And he was unfortunately killed in action in August 1944 in France at the age of 28. So in this short, of course, he is 24 years old. This man, a pretty fine actor, gave his life for this country, so I do want to highlight the important work he has done in this short and ultimately gave the greatest sacrifice to the country. Now, of course, all the interior shots were shot in a soundstage, but all the exterior shots in this short were very interestingly shot all over the Columbia Ranch. We see some footage shot on Modern Street as well as Brownstone Street, the New York Street as well, and don't forget the Deeds home and the actual gatehouse, which is at the entrance to the Columbia Ranch property. It's also worth mentioning that the unofficial Three Stooges, as I call them, that is, of course, Emil Sitka, Bud Jameson, and Vernon Dent, they do not make an appearance in this Stooge short, which is rare because usually one of them does make even a short appearance. No Christine McIntyre, of course, but we do have Richard Fisk, who kind of takes over that role, and I'm very appreciative that we do have him here. Now, the Army drill routine, that footage would later be reused in the 1943 Stooge short Dizzy Pilot. So whenever I review that film later on in the future, I will be sure to refer to this one, that it originally originated from this short. Now, Joe Besser, who of course became himself one of the Three Stooges after replacing Shemp Howard, he had his own very similar but unique Army drill routine that was later performed and used in the 1952 short Aim, Fire, and Scoop. And itself, it had a remake in 1956, Army Days, so you see them in both of those. Now, if you note the closing gag right at the end of this short, where they're riding the bombshell through the air, that would be later recreated in 1964. The film is called Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. So it's really cool to see that they took this inspiration from the Stooges. Now, in this shot where Curley and the rest of the Stooges are asleep on the battlefield, he turns around and you see a print ad on his back. It's a pretty funny sight gag, and you see it reads for O'Brien's Kosher Restaurant. Now, it has dessert, that is, the tasty treat, misspelled as desert. Now, you let me know what you think. Was that intentional or not? Now, I'll be jumping around here, guys and gals, with different mistakes and bloopers that I think you'll enjoy. And this one comes from Sergeant Dare when he's teaching the men about the bayonet practice. Now, he's spraying the garden hose in the bayonet target bags containing the Stooges. Now, he's spraying the one with Curly Howard inside. However, Mo spits water in Sergeant Dare's face. Now, the big question is, how did that happen if he only started to pour water into the Curly bag? There was no explanation other than a blooper. But I do also have to add that the Stooges are geniuses, and they did pioneer the idea of hammer space, which is the idea that they can pretty much conjure anything up that they need at the time. So you could make an argument that Mo just conjured up water in his mouth and asked to spit it out. It's kind of similar to how the Marx Brothers and how Harpo Marx can take a blowtorch out of his pocket. Now check out the scene as you see the boys coming into the enemy's basically office or their headquarters. You can see Larry is the last one to come in regards to the Stooges, and he actually trips on the rug and almost falls, but he catches himself right before and continues the scene without missing a beat. This is possibly my favorite blooper in the entire short, and that has to do with Curley. Now, he puts his rifle over his right shoulder, and this is when he does it for the first time. It actually almost hits Richard Fisk right in the head, and it actually brushes his hat, and he kind of moves aside. You can tell that that was not part of the actual script, but then later he gets hit on the head intentionally, and that part was. Now moving back to when the boys were inside with Mrs. Dare, you can see that they were using the seltzer on her and a sprays out of her ears. You can actually see that Mo is supposed to get the spray to hit him all over the face. It's part of the gag. Unfortunately, the spray actually doesn't hit him, and he has to move forward in order that it sprays him in the face. Usually you would move your face away from it so you don't get sprayed, but of course this was all trying to fix the mistake that happened on camera. Well, that's it for this video, guys and gals. Thank you so much. Let me know which is your favorite fact and or blooper down below in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to check out my playlist for the Three Stooges. I have over 52 videos on the Three Stooges, and if you're looking at this in the future, there will be even more. I'm continuing on from basically short number 1 through short 190. It is a fantastic journey. I hope you join me. We'll see you next time, and don't forget, be hopeful. Thank you to my Diamond tier patrons, Andrew B, Ricky, and David D. And thank you to every single one of my Patreons where I have exclusive content. Be sure to look in the description below for merchandise, Patreon exclusive content, as well as playlists where you can find other TV shows and sitcoms that I think you'll enjoy. We'll see you all next time.